Sporty greetings. Welcome to this Nuthin But Net podcast, helping tip off the fourth season of the Men's Basketball Africa League, or BAL, in South Africa. I'm Sonny Young, and I'm joined here in studio by my VOA colleague, Muqbil Yabarow. Sporty greetings, Muqbil.
Sporty greetings, Sonny. What's going on?
Muqbil, we have 4 teams going to be playing in the Kalahari Conference at the SunBet Arena in Pretoria. FUS Rabat of Morocco, Petro de Luanda of Angola, Cape Town Tigers of South Africa, and Dynamo Basketball Club of Burundi. First off, Muqbil, your thoughts on the BAL playing its first games in South Africa?
Man, Sonny, I think it's great, honestly. This is the first time that the BAL has made its way to South Africa. A ton of us thought that maybe that should have been the initial starting point, as the NBA has had a pretty good stronghold on the continent, in specific in South Africa. So I'm very excited to see that this is the direction that they're moving in at the moment. As you mentioned, Petro de Luanda, FUS Rabat, Cape Town Tigers, and Dynamo Basketball Club will be playing in that initial Kalahari Conference. You got 2 debutant teams, and then you have 2 teams that are seasoned veterans. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I got to believe the seasoned veterans, Muqbil, Petro and the Tigers from Cape Town, that they're probably considered the favorites, wouldn't you think?
If I was to give an edge to any of the 4 teams, I would say, there's pros and cons to both sides, right? When you have teams like Petro that have been relatively successful in the competition so far in the past 4 seasons, and then you have a team like Cape Town Tigers who have also found their stride as well in the tournament, you would expect them to do a little bit better than debutant teams. But we've seen debutant teams such as Stade Malien last year that surprised us, right? Because you don't really have that much film on these newer teams. So you might be able to study film on Petro for 4 years and really know what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. So I think it really just depends on who comes out and just wants it more, Sonny.
Muqbil, the games in the Kalahari Conference will be played at the SunBet Arena in Pretoria. On a personal note, Muqbil, I visited that arena 6 years ago for the NBA Africa game 2018, and two of the big dignitaries, courtside, were none other than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and the big man from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Dikembe Mutombo. And Muqbil, I can tell you, before the game, I did a quick interview with Kareem. I have never held a microphone higher than I did trying to get the thoughts of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Right. I mean, the thoughts are pretty high up, man. I'm not going to lie. Skyhook, maybe? Man, honestly, I think that's awesome that, you had that experience in South Africa.
And it's a pretty arena. It really is.
Right. And to me, I feel like the entire continent is moving to that direction with the assistance of the NBA and wanting to build this infrastructure with NBA Africa, also with the Basketball Africa League, as well as the NBA Academy. Right? NBA Africa Academy as well. And we've seen some players that have moved from the academies. We just heard recently.
Big man from Sudan.
Man, we just seen the young man.
Big story.
Kaman Maluach just commits to Duke.
One of the powerhouses in U.S. college basketball.
Unbelievable to see this young man. And, this is a conversation that we've had in the past already, talking about how does the pipeline from the Basketball Africa League transition to making their way to the pros. And I think,
this is a prime example.
Oh, fantastic. Another example, Ruben Chinyelu, we spoke to last year, is playing for the University of Washington, playing for the Washington State Cougars right now at the moment. So, and he's playing relatively well. So this is the type of stuff that we love to see. This is the Basketball Africa League being a pipeline for these players to be able to, make their way over here and play in collegiate basketball. And hopefully we see that next level make it to the NBA.
Muqbil, we have a special guest joining us for this podcast from Cape Town, South Africa. Coach R.F. Boyson, head coach of the Cape Town Sharks. And Coach B, welcome to the show.
Greetings, Sonny. Thank you for having me.
It's great to see you again, Coach B. The games in South Africa. I guess my first question, Coach. I know in terms of the sporting hierarchy in South Africa, football very popular, rugby, cricket. Where do you put basketball, Coach B, in terms of the pantheon of South African sports?
Sunny, currently basketball is one of the fastest growing sport in South Africa, in Africa as a whole. I would put basketball just after rugby, soccer, cricket, our netball. In terms of females, I'll say fifth at the moment. But give it time. With opportunities like Basketball Africa League coming to South Africa, it will just grow. I mean, the atmosphere is electrifying here currently, and the impact that this Basketball Africa League will have on sport and basketball in South Africa as a whole. It's just magnificent. You guys just spoke now about the kid from South Sudan that's committed to Duke. I mean, a lot of opportunities are created out of this. So, thank you for Basketball Africa League for having this wonderful competition and rights in South Africa at this moment.
Yeah, Coach, just a follow-up question. What were your initial thoughts when you heard about the Basketball Africa League season for starting off in the Kalahari Conference in South Africa?
Well, it's exciting news to have Basketball Africa League here. I thought initially it was going to be from season 2 or 3 in South Africa, but specifically Cape Town and not Johannesburg. More beautiful here, sunny. We've got the mountains, vineyards, and the sea. Hopefully it will be moved here, but exciting times for South African basketball to have the Basketball Africa League here in season 4 in South Africa.
Coach B, can you tell us a little bit about swimming with the sharks, so to speak? Where do the sharks fit in terms of the South African basketball landscape?
Yeah, so Cape Town Sharks, one of the best teams in South Africa at the moment. It's just a pity we didn't have opportunity to play last year due to communication that came through from FIBA. Teams like City Oilers, Ferroviária Beira, and Cape Town Tigers went straight through Elite 16, so there was no South African championship. I believe we'll definitely give Tigers a run for their money. Very, very good team, very good structure, very good president. We currently have 7 teams in our club. Yes, hopefully you'll see us playing soon on the big stage.
Absolutely, Coach. What do you think it'll take to strengthen the South African club leagues and African leagues across the continent?
If I talk about South Africa specifically, we have the Basketball National League. I would like to see players from all over the world playing in the Basketball National League, strengthen this league, that players would want to come here. I mean, we have all the infrastructure, we have the beauty here, like I said, in Cape Town specific. So I would just think that the management of the Basketball Africa League must just reach out and widen the horizon. Then more people would invest, more people would want to come and play in South Africa. And I think having the Basketball Africa League here in Pretoria, in South Africa, is an eye-opener already. It's advertisement of what the country can do. We've seen previously our professionals of Basketball South Africa run competitions like Zone 6 and Elite 16 here. So I see this just beginning for basketball in terms of growth, in terms of the league, and opportunities for the country.
Coach B, you used that word advertisements, and looking at your attire for this show, it looks like you might be a Yankees fan, Coach B.
No, it's just a sponsor. It's a sponsorship, from a specific brand, not Yankee, not Yankees, but yeah, Sonny. So it's a pity that some teams require some sort of funding, to qualify for, for the Basketball Africa League. The road to BAL is not a cheap exercise. Teams do need money. In our instance, we don't need players. I feel the players we have at the Cape Town Sharks will be sufficient to qualify for the Basketball Africa League, but you do need money to travel. You do need money for accommodation. Hopefully that's something that the Basketball Africa League can look at to make this exercise cheaper, that more teams can try and qualify, and that you have the best possible players for a specific country that's representing them at the Basketball Africa League.
Absolutely, Coach. And Sonny and I have had this conversation in the past as well. Do you think there should be an age limit, maybe like a under 25, or do you think there should be a majority African young players in the Basketball Africa League and kind of limit the foreign play? Because a ton of times we see a lot of teams going out to get a bunch of veteran, older players to kind of help with the youth. But do you think maybe we should, maybe should the BAL consider putting a specific limit of younger players or African born talent to play in these teams?
So I've got a twofold answer for you pertaining to that. I would say definitely limit in terms of age. I'll say maybe 26 years, but definitely I'm personally not satisfied with this increase of international players that are allowed. It just weakened basketball for specific countries. South Africa played 2 weeks ago. They played against Mozambique. I would have loved to see more of their players in the Tigers team. Now you have 5 imports. Yes, some teams that will have more money will be stronger because they will be able to buy and afford international players for higher caliber that played college basketball or NBA or G League. So yeah, this is a rule that I think is disadvantaging basketball in Africa by increasing the amount of imports. I think a fair limit would be 2. Then you have 10 local players that's playing for the specific team. Like I said, it's about development and developing the country's basketball. And having 5 players, it's not doing justice or will develop the basketball and players for the country.
Coach B, in terms of the playing format for this Kalahari Conference, each team will play the other in the conference twice. As the BAL continues to grow and expand, do you see this conference play maybe sort of taking on the format of like the NBA playoffs, where it's best of 7 games, or do you think this is a good barometer of a team's performance, playing another team twice in the conference?
Look. I'm all for more games, more competition. For basketball, I would just love the playoffs to be best out of 3. In Rwanda, not only 1 game, then you go home. So there is room for improvement. But we must also consider that a lot of money, it's a lot of just logistics, a lot of planning, a lot of money going into the league. It's only the 4th season. So as the league will develop, as the years will go on, more games will be played, and there will be more improvements at the end of the day. So once again, heads up to BAL for organizing this event and expanding to another conference, because like I said, it's not easy, the planning, logistics, and everything they've put into making a success of this league.
Yeah, Coach, if you were to pick a team that you like, that's not the Cape Town Tigers as the favorites for the Kalahari Conference, between Petro, Rabat, and Dynamo Basketball Club, who do you think, who do you like?
Look, I like Petro, the way they play. They've got bigs that can play inside, that can play outside. They've got that 1-2 half-court press, that they apply on. I love the way they share the ball. A lot of talent, wonderful coach, Jose. We've just seen what he's done with the Brazilian team, beating the USA in the last competition. I think Petro Luanda will win this conference. In terms of coming second, I am from South Africa. I want Cape Town Tigers to go through, but if I look at the roster, it's not going to be easy. Specifically, if they play Dynamo, that they have a big like Williams experience that's posting up. I'm not sure who's going to take him on defense. Peter Prince was out. No Chris Gabriel. No Liam Reed. It's going to be very difficult on defense for the Tigers, but I think they will they will solely rely on offense, getting the opponents into foul trouble, trying to play a fast-paced basketball. But yeah, it's good to see guys like Billy Preston back in the team. I think the most talented player, in the BAL all 4 seasons is definitely him. If he can touch the ball, they can do wonders on offense. But like I said, my stress, for the Tigers is on defense. Having no 4 or 5 in terms of what I've seen of the roster that can do the work of Prinsloo. A lot of people just speak about Prinsloo's 3-point shooting, but if you go look at the tapes, like you guys have said earlier on, there's 4 years of tapes. The defensive work that Prinsloo have done for this team was just immense, and it will definitely be missed.
Coach B, if we can circle back to that young big man from Sudan who just committed to Duke University. I was talking with one of my colleagues before the show, the big man from Bamako, Sheikh Tiero, and he was really impressed with how this young African basketball player has placed a really good education in his future, and that he's not just all about basketball. And Coach B, I know you're not just all about basketball either. What do you think in terms of the trajectory of these young African players? Would you recommend that they go to an American college or university as part of their training program?
Yes, 100%, Sonny, but we must all take a step back and look where it's starting. It's starting with the NBA Africa and what they do for these kids. It's all about academics and basketball. So no one can come in if you just do basketball. Academics must be good. If we look at the Tigers player that study in America, he finished his qualification, so we have that backup. It's 100%. I'm happy for this young man committing to Duke. I know the academic standards are high there. It's good, and he will play good basketball. So the opportunity of him, getting a degree and possibly, make it into the NBA, I'm really ecstatic. I'm happy for this opportunity, and hopefully, more players can be recognized. Because where do they see them? They see them at FIBA Championship, and they see them at Basketball Africa League. And that is the type of opportunities that the BAL is creating for young players all over Africa.
Yeah, Coach, just to go on earlier, you mentioned a few players. If you were to say potential players to watch, whether it be in the Kalahari Conference or in any of the other conferences moving forward from the limited rosters that you may have seen, if you were to give us a few names, who are you thinking?
Yeah, so if I talk in terms of the Tigers, of what I've seen of the roster, if it's confirmed, I would like to see DeShandre Washington. 2022 was not that great, but 2021 college, he scored 27 points per game. I would like to see how he's playing. Similar height as Evans Ganapamu. Evans Ganapamu will be missed. His athleticism, that he brought to the Tigers. I would also say watch out for Billy Preston. He's back. He has something to prove. He still feels he can make it to the NBA. In terms of Petro Luanda, I would love to see Carlos Moraes performing well. We know that he's of age, and this might be his last chance of winning a BAL championship. I haven't seen the rosters, but I'm excited to see teams like LRG. Libya is playing, with Bangui Sport. Bangui Sport currently have lost coach Liz Mills. I'm not sure who's going to coach them if they find a replacement. Evans Gamapamu have left them also. In terms of the Sahara Conference, US Monster will definitely go through, according to my opinion, of what I've seen, what they've signed. I'm excited to see Rivers Hoopers back. We remember the first game, Ben Uzo scoring the first points of first Basketball Africa League. So yeah, it's very difficult to give more opinion in terms of teams. If I haven't seen the full roster, I'm just speaking out of past experiences. Hopefully, you guys will have me on the show when we go to Sahara conference and now conference once the teams is out.
Finally, Coach B, at the top of the podcast, I mentioned how it was such a thrill for me to see and meet Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Dikembe Mutombo when I visited South Africa in 2018, and I had a chance to check out that SunBet Arena in Pretoria, and just seeing Kareem and Dikembe courtside was amazing. But as a young man growing up, Coach B, are there either former NBA players or current NBA players who you've really admired over the years?
Well, I'm not gonna go with the stream, but I personally like LeBron James for his life story. How hard he worked, to get where he is. His mother supporting him. So I'm a big fan of that of LeBron James, and specifically, you see what's happening with younger players now, like Anthony Edwards and all of these guys. There's negativity in the media about him. LeBron James, 20 years in the league, you haven't heard or seen one negative publicity about him. Loyal to his wife. So for me, it's a full package when I look at players. So LeBron James definitely one of my favorites because of hard work, behavior on and off the court, family man, and so on.
Coach B, the head coach of the Cape Town Sharks. Coach B, it's always a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Sonny, for having me. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach B. Muqbil, I really share Coach B's thoughts about LeBron, about what a exemplary figure he's been for 2 decades plus, basically.
And also, we got to think about the fact that he came into the league, young man, 18 years old, gets thrown,
no college, no university,
just gets thrown all this money at him. The level of stardom, he's been the chosen one since he was 18, right? He has to carry teams on his back from then, put some of his friends in really good positions to help set them up for their future. Like he said, stayed with, his longtime girlfriend, family man, gets married. Like literally, like it's a storybook ending type of, situation. 20 years plus, no blemishes in the outside world where everybody's getting scrutinized. Social media is in all of your business. So yeah, he's been a great example, great role model, great to his kids, man, so.
And one who is in college right now.
Absolutely. Potentially might be able to play together in the NBA, which is something that we've never seen before. And at a high level, too. It's not like he's just hanging around, riding the bench. He's still a top 5 player in the NBA at the moment with his son potentially. I think he's eligible for the draft this upcoming year. Don't know whether he goes into the draft or if he stays an additional year. But that's his decision, and LeBron said he'll respect his decision. But it's awesome just to see somebody like that in real time,
Well, Muqbil, as we look forward to this upcoming season in the Basketball Africa League, what would you like to see maybe in terms of quality of play?
I think, Sonny, to be honest with you, in the last couple of years, year after year, we've been doing this now. This is our 4th season doing this pod. So you remember how we spoke about season 1 and wanting to see better quality in terms of, maybe chemistry, team chemistry.
Turnovers.
Fewer turnovers. Better shot selection for players. Certain things, even from a coaching standpoint, seeing, maybe different schemes, mid-game adjustments and such. But we've seen year after year it has gotten better. So kudos to the Basketball Africa League and NBA Africa for, working together to make sure that this is a great product. And we're seeing it, as we just mentioned with Coach B, the NBA Africa Academy is, pushing out to these kids that it's not only about basketball, but it's also about education, helping them within their, becoming true professionals, really, above all else. So it's an awesome setup.
And also, Muqbil, I think in terms of overall sportsmanship. The BAL has really taken the high road. I remember last year watching a couple players got called for, I think, technical fouls for hanging on the rim too long after a dunk, or maybe they said something, sharp to an official, and they were quickly whistled for a technical foul. Do you see the BAL maybe taking a stricter approach than the NBA?
Possibly, but the thing that I like more so on the flip side is the players, once they get teed up, are really good about how they react to it, right? So it's like, I also appreciate that, because sometimes, in the midst of playing the game, you and I both played the game, you're so invested in it, your emotions are high. If the game is close, you can have an outburst of emotions, that can really set you back, because that might not be your true character, but in that moment, you were not able to control yourself. A lot of the players in the last couple of seasons have shown us that even when they get teed up or are in the midst of the chaos, are able to control themselves and they refrain, and they don't really show a level of aggression towards the referees, which is very commendable.
And it's also commendable, Muqbil, to see two debutante teams in the BAL. And, we're both familiar with the Tigers and Petro because we've seen them. Well, with Petro, every season they've been in the BAL. But for teams like Dynamo Basketball Club of Burundi or the other one from Rabat, FUS Rabat, you want to check them out to see how the game is developing in Burundi and Morocco.
Absolutely. So we've had, this is the first time we've had a Burundian team in the BAL. So to me, that's the team that I'm looking at, because we can then kind of gauge the level of play that's happening in that country, which we don't really hear about Burundian basketball a lot.
We don't.
But it's amazing that they're in there. Whatever they do, however they perform, it's gonna be awesome for them. We've had a Moroccan team in the past with AS Sali having been in the tournament in the past. Now seeing
led by Liz Mills.
Absolutely. Coach Liz has made, she's gone around and she's had her fair share of quality coaching gigs. We've seen her in the past, which has been awesome. Phenomenal coach, in my opinion. But yeah, to see now FUS Rabat be the team instead of AS Sali means that, hey, there's some new guys in town, some new blood, Similarly, in Egypt, we've seen Al Ahly won last year, but prior to that, we had Zamalek win or go to the finals in years in the past. So it's nice when you see a switch up, but that shows me that the infrastructure in that specific country is kind of nice. It's kind of building, they're developing it. We've seen that also with Rwanda as well, right? So now with Rwanda, we've seen this is going to be the third team that will be in the Basketball Africa League.
Muqbil, finally, this league is tipping off less than a month after the Africa Cup of Nations final. Do you see basketball growing in Africa?
Absolutely, Sonny. We've seen that, the sport is huge in, I would say football is the number one sport on the continent, but basketball could sneak in that second.
Nuthin But Net. You've been listening and watching Nuthin But Net. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back with episode 2 next week. And thanks to our producer, Lionel.
Yo, what's up? It's Media Day BAL Season 4.
Here at home, baby. Pretoria. Shit, what's my life?
We have 5 different studios, 2 photos and 3 videos. So really the goal today is to showcase you guys, highlight you guys.
And we having fun at the same time.
Just getting a little pre-pump for the pictures, you know what I mean? And I look slow for the camera.
The jersey is amazing. It's a great honor to be here and have this opportunity to represent Food's family.
Shout out to the country of Morocco.
Même si c'est la première fois que je fais ça, je m'habitue.
What's up, fans? We're in Pretoria.
voir toutes ces caméras pointées devant nous, c'est juste waouh.